Welcome back to week 5 of the 5th grade unit Matter and Energy in Organisms and Ecosystems. I just want to remind everyone that the goal of this unit is going to be looking at how different processes impact the movement of matter in and around our world. So that being said, the last couple of weeks we've talked about photosynthesis, the water cycle, what matter is, which is really anything with volume and mass. Now we're going to look at an even more complex cycle that sounds very difficult, but it's actually a very simple cycle. So this week you'll be looking at what's called the carbon cycle, and you are going to be learning how the carbon cycle impacts the movement of matter in ecosystems. The first thing that I want everyone to know is what carbon is. Carbon is going to be an element that makes up everything on Earth. We are made up of carbon atoms, and one of the ways that we know that everything is made of carbon is once we break it down, it's going to turn into carbon. It's going to turn back into its natural state or natural element. So the carbon cycle is basically stating that as things build and grow, they're still going to return to that carbon state. So for an easy way to see that is if anyone has ever had a campfire or if you have a fireplace at home, carbon is actually a very dark matter. And dark, I mean color dark. And if you were to burn paper, which is it's a mixture, as you burn it, it's actually going to turn back into carbon, and that those carbon particles are going to be black, which is going to be specifically carbon, or pretty much anything that you were to burn would turn black. So that's showing that it's made up of carbon. So that's an easy way to think about it. The carbon cycle itself is going to be a cycle that involves going through the life process back to the death process. So what I'd like you to do this week is you're going to watch these couple of YouTube videos, and the links are here as numbers. Otherwise, you can click on the videos, and those will also show up. And then create a Google document titled Carbon Cycle. On that document, I want you to answer these following questions. So number 1, what is carbon? I should have already helped you with what that is, so hopefully you understand that. Second, why is carbon so important to our world? And it's kind of a trick question because I already explained what carbon is and where it is in our world, so kind of think outside the box on this one. The third question is, what is the process that animals take to help them in the movement of matter? So definitely think about that whole cycle and how animals are part of it. And then lastly, where does the energy originally come from that animals need to decompose and complete the carbon process? So where does energy start? And this is a topic that we talked about the last couple weeks, and especially 2 weeks ago. So think about that. For your writing connection this week, you'll be using your notes to write a section about the carbon cycle and the movement of matter. And make sure that you're doing this on your movement of matter and ecosystems document. So up to this point, you should have 3 solid paragraphs created already. In this paragraph, which should again be about 12 to 15 sentences, you need to basically write about what you just learned. So what is the carbon cycle? Why is the process so important to our Earth? And how does this cycle contribute to the movement of matter? So taking all of those things into account and creating a solid paragraph on that. Remember, in this section, you can break it into 2 paragraphs if you feel the need to, because you're answering more than one question. After you complete this paragraph, make sure that you've cited all your sources in the reference section of your paper using a site like EasyBib or BibMe. As the paper goes on, this is always very important because we want to cite where the information is coming from. So if you're taking information from those 2 videos you just watched, make sure that you put those into your bibliography.